President accounted for?
I think so.
Megan? Okay, looks like we're about ready to get started. I would like to reconvene from closed session, and there are no reportable actions to be reported. With that, let's please stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have introduction of our new student trustee, who is Brissa Flores, and Mr. Carrizosa, if you would.
I would. Brissa, will you join me at the podium, please? The first official act for our new student trustee is to be issued her oath of office. So if you'll swing around right here, there you go, and then raise your right hand. Now I'm going to ask you to repeat after me as I issue you your oath of office. I, and then state your name,
I, Brissa Flores,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I swear
that I swear
I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution
to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of California,
of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will
and I will
well and faithfully discharge
well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. If you've never had to accept and recite the oath of office, it's not easy to do.
All right, very good. Brissa, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you went to high school, and anything else you feel we should know about?
Well, I went to high school in Tulare Union, in Tulare, obviously. I am a biology major here at COS, and my goal is to be a veterinarian. So I'm hoping to transfer to University of Hawaii, Manoa, because they have a good vet program that I read about. So hopefully I should be doing that maybe this year, or transferring out this year. And yeah, because I really love animals, so I really hope to be doing that.
Great.
Did you serve in the Student Senate last year, Brissa?
I did, yes.
And what was your role last year in Senate?
I served last year. The first semester, I was just senator for
Right.
the science department, and then last semester I was the student ambassador. So I represented COS at a state level, and so this year I am student trustee.
Very good.
Must have you.
Were you raised on a farm? Where you get the love of animals?
I have lived in a farm before, so yeah, I just always love animals. I'm very empathetic, I think, towards animals. So I would love to be able to cure them and everything.
Good luck.
Very good. Okay. Public comment. Per Board Policy 2350, any person may address the board at this time either on an agenda item or other matters of interest to the public that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. A maximum of 5 minutes is allowed for each speaker, with a maximum time of 15 minutes per item unless otherwise extended by the board. Do we have any public comments today on items that are on the agenda? Apparently there are none. Do we have any public comments concerning items not on the agenda? None there as well. Okay, so that would move us to executive and staff reports. And the first item is the student trustee report, and I don't know if you have, you probably
Yes.
have some things to.
I just have a very, very small report.
Great, very good.
Since we just came back from summer, I don't have much to report, but what I do have is that at the end of last month, the Student Senate Executive Board attended a 3-day retreat. There we were able to gain clarity about our new positions this semester, and we also discussed innovative ways to inform our students about the many resources they have available to them on campus. And also, each of the officers brought forth new and innovative ideas and events to encourage networking between all students, all club members, and even staff and faculty. So then we will present these ideas to our Student Senate class, and we hope that they will be successful. And that is all I have to report.
Great. All right, we look forward to your report next month. All right, as we move into board member reports, I need to tell you that Trustee Earl Mann is on vacation this week and will rejoin us for the next meeting. Any other board member reports today? Been a quiet month, right? Vacations and the like. You don't want to tell us about your vacations, do you? All right. Foundation report, and I see Tim is ready and willing to go.
Yes, sir. I just have a few things. I wanted to mention how excited our board was to help the College of Sequoias receive a $1.5 million grant through underwriting the cost of the grant writer that we used. We spent $8,280, and the award to the foundation, to the college was $1.5 million. So the board felt like that was a pretty good investment with a good return. So we're happy about that. The foundation operating and spending endowment spend, we use our investment income from our assets for two things: endowed scholarships, to pay out scholarships each year, and to help underwrite the operation of the foundation office. And we had been historically doing that at 5% for the endowed scholarships and 4% for the operations, but our performance of our portfolio hasn't been meeting that. And so we just don't feel like that is a sustainable model at this time. So our board made the decision to reduce both by 1 full percentage. So our endowed scholarships are going to be at 4% until further notice, and our operating budget, at least this 16-17 budget cycle, was based off of a 3% spend. And despite those things, so far our folks that are involved in the endowed scholarships have been understanding and accepting of the change in that regard. And despite the change in the operating income that is coming in, we were still able to forecast $120,000 to be allocated for project funding, the next round of funding, and $70,000 worth of foundation scholarships to be awarded the next round of awarding as well. So we're still trying to do that. We're making it up through fundraising, of course. Speaking of fundraising, I wanted to thank you all for approving the employment agreements here. I plan on having a extra emphasis on recruiting new employee donors to our giant success campaign beginning at Convocation. We have a stretch goal of getting 90 employees to be payroll deduction donors to the COS Foundation in one form or another, and currently we have 39 commitments, so we're almost halfway there. Also, I wanted to announce our COS Hall of Fame inductees. We have Debbie Burvell, and Debbie is an outstanding athlete here, playing all three sports, basketball, volleyball, and softball in 78 through 79. Wow. She went on to become an emergency physician and is currently the medical director for Auto Club Raceway in California, in Fontana. Percy Carr is a longtime basketball coach. He played sports here at COS. He went on to teach and start coaching. He's established a 40-year career in coaching. He is one of the winningest coaches in any league or level of all time. He has over 800 wins. And he was inducted into the California Community College Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame back in '98. And so we felt it was time to bring him into the COS Hall of Fame.
I believe that Percy is a graduate of Tulare Union High School.
I believe so as well, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And he went on, he actually worked there too and coached. Exciting guy and a lot of ties to here in the Valley. And he's currently coaching at San Jose Community College, or City College, I should say. And then finally, we have Tom Link. He was an active student here at COS. He was on our swim and dive teams when they won the CCJCA championship in '61. He has served on the COS Foundation Board. He served on the Measure I Committee, and he continues to attend athletic events. Well-known name in here in Visalia. And now that he's retired from his business and everything, we felt there was an opportune time to bring him in. So those are our Hall of Fame inductees. That event is happening on October 13th at the Porter Fieldhouse. Ahead of that, we do have the Crush Party at our Tulare campus. We're really excited about that. We think we have enough vintners and food to support 250 or so folks. We had about 200 last year, so we're looking for an incremental increase in that. Again, that's on September 23rd. And then COS, speaking of Tulare, we also have the COS Harvest Fest, October 22nd. And that's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., very open agenda time frame. You can come in at any time and come and see all that's being offered at the Tulare Center that afternoon or morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we have the Power of the Purse coming up. It's out there November 17th, but I wanted to give Laura the heads up.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on my calendar.
November 17th. Power of the Purse. It's always the Thursday before Thanksgiving.
All right. Any questions for Tim?
Just going to ask to clarify the $1.5 million grant
Right.
that we were able to get. Talk to the board a little bit about what area that came in.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So it's definitely, and I can't speak perfectly to it because I was just the guy who ran the money to give the person to write the
writer,
grant.
yeah.
But it is supporting instructional and non-instructional staff, learning materials, and capital outlays to enhance COS capacity to provide basic skills to students. So it's supporting, it's student success money, augmentation to what we're already doing. The overarching goal of the proposed Basic Skills and Student Outcomes Transformation Program is to move a greater portion of basic skills students from pre-transfer instruction to and through college-level instruction in shorter time period than what the college is currently achieving. Okay, so we're just accelerating through mostly the math and English. to
Okay,
get them to
and that's
college level.
the program that we've heard about, I think, that consolidates the two English classes into one and gives
Yes,
them-
that's some of the work that's going on. The
360.
Basic skills, obviously, as an area of emphasis, and the program is not new for us, but we were in the cycle to apply for renewed grant funding to continue to try to get basic skills resources. So we weren't sure if we were, because we've been funded once for the basic skills program, if we were going to be a strong candidate to be able to continue and be funded again. Through the foundation's help to get the right type of writing and support for submitting the grant, we were funded a second time. So we're going to be able to continue that work in basic skills.
Great.
And I certainly see this as an example of future opportunities that the foundation can help. You know, the other alternative was to make 3% off of that money sitting in the bank, or give the district $8,200 in some other program funding. So to be able to fund someone to ultimately get that kind of award, we were
Very good leverage.
That's good.
All right.
Where are you getting 3% in a bank?
I'll bring my money to you.
All right, Dr. Lasona is up next with the accreditation report.
Yes, and we do thank the foundation for helping us with that grant. And I'm going to be introducing our new dean a little bit later, who will be taking a lead role in that grant. But the four focuses are on increasing our supplemental instruction, which is support for within the classroom. The exact one that you said, Mr. Nunez, the English 261 and other accelerated classes. Multiple measures assessment, so expanding the way we assess students and looking at high school grades and some other things in order to do their placements in English and math, and then embedded basic skills in our CTE, career technical education classes. So those are the four main goals of the grant, and we'll be giving you more information as that starts rolling out. So, as far as accreditation, Dr. Trimble, Superintendent Carasosa, and I had a chance to meet on Thursday, and we've further developed our timeline for implementation of our accreditation research, writing, and sending it out to everybody, and I will bring the formal draft of that timeline to our next meeting. So we're on mark with our planning and getting the accreditation work group together in August, and again, we'll finalize that timeline and bring it to you for the September meeting.
Very good. Thank you. All right, next is superintendent's report, and it looks like we're going to have some faculty and manager introductions, so
I am going to allow Dr. Lacerna to take the lead on that in just a moment. I wanted to squeeze one little quick acknowledgement in my report before I turn it over to Dr. Lacerna. You know, for the past several years now, we've been expanding through the early construction of the Hanford campus, subsequent to that, the construction of the Tulare campus, the modernization of the Visalia campus, investment of those three local bonds and all of the facilities improvements and modernization and updates that we've been able to do. And I think, like good stewards of the money and good boards and good administrations, to try to take care of as many of those instructional related and classroom related responsibilities as your highest priority. And then every once in a while, way down at the bottom of the list, you might look at some of the other public kinds of facilities like a conference room or a boardroom. And so I want to give special thanks this summer to our Dean of Facilities, Byron Woods, who came through and was able to meet with Christine and I and take a look at the boardroom, and then when you get a chance and you'll be on campus throughout the semester, to take a look at Conference Room 1, where a lot of our public meetings take place. Didn't spend a lot of money, but did a nice little job of facelifting the boardroom when you came in this evening. Fresh paint, remodeled the color scheme a little bit, put in some new carpet. We're working on how we address and treat the windows, and created some entry halls on both ends to improve how we maintain and upkeep the cleanliness of the room. And so while it has some datedness to its architecture, as my grandma always taught me, you might be poor, but you can still be clean. And I think this looks really nice, and I wanted to make sure we acknowledged Byron and thank them for the work, because it does feel good to have the room refreshed a little bit. I think it will be nice for us. So thank you, Byron.
I don't think we'll call it dated, we'll just call it
Vintage.
maybe mid-century modern or something like
Vintage,
that.
yeah, vintage.
Okay.
Okay, now I'd like to have Jennifer come up and lead the introductions.
Okay, so I am really happy to be introducing the last three, not the last three, but the final of our 18 hires of faculty that we had this year. And I'm going to ask a couple of our deans to come up and help us with those introductions. First, we have plant science professor, and I wanted to point out that we've made a really concentrated effort to make sure that we're filling the faculty that we need in Tulare over the last 3 years. And so if you remember, every year we've been able to present a new agriculture faculty member to you for the past 3 years. So I'm really excited that we have a plant science person to present to you today. And I'm going to have Dr. Waldner come up and introduce Charles Abey. And Dr. Waldner is one of our newest professional mountain biking experts who had a wreck, and I'll let her tell the rest.
Yeah, you ought to sing the other guy, right? I want to introduce, he can come up here beside me, Mr. Charles Abey, newest professor of plant science. So Charles comes from us from the high school ranks, so he spent some time at Woodlake, and that's been his latest place at Woodlake. Actually, he started his teaching career at Woodlake. Then I'm proud of him. He was a trailing spouse. I've always been the trailing spouse, so I'm always glad when a guy is the trailing spouse. And he followed his wife up to the Davis area where she worked on her PhD, and he worked at Esparto High School, I think, for 4 years. And while she finished up, and then they had the opportunity, always good to get a pair back in Tulare County. He made it back to Woodlake High School. In the interim, he worked also as a community college professor at Woodland Community College, so for about a year of experience there. Came back to Woodlake, also has been teaching adjunct at Fresno State over the last year, and then we've been able to snatch him up. So we're very glad. He is an alumni of College of the Sequoias. I don't have the exact year, we won't have to give that out, but he's an alumni of College of the Sequoias of the Ag Division. Probably the thing I would tell you, when I called for references, and the thing that struck, if you compared all the words that people said, it was solid, integrity, hardworking, and without a doubt, just listening to his performance in the classroom and in the interview, definitely has the technical expertise, the understanding of agriculture that we need, so both the practical and the technical and the science. But what, if people were to say about me, hey, she was solid, always there, day in, day out, makes things happen, that'd be the biggest compliment to me. And so those were the kinds of things that were said about Charles Abey, Mr. Abey, and we're so pleased to have him part of our team in the Agriculture Division, and all the knowledge and expertise he brings in teaching, but just the technical expertise and love for this such important industry we have here in agriculture. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Charles Abey.
Thank you, Dr. Waldner, and thank you, Governing Board. It's great to come back and an honor to come back to College of Sequoias, and I look forward to the new and exciting opportunities that Tulare Center offers for students, and I feel privileged to be a part of making new headway and involving students in the Tulare Center. So thank you very much.
Oh, not so fast, not so fast. Not so fast. Do we have any questions of Mr. Abey?
I think just being at the Tulare Center already and probably getting your feet a little wet, what did you see as maybe, greatest opportunity or something you would like to do right away, or opportunity or challenge, either one?
Getting students out onto the farm doing, stuff in my courses like soil sampling, incorporating some precision agriculture, using some new technology like drones. I've talked to Mr. Tebow about some courses that he's written in ag technology, maybe even tying those courses together. There's a huge plethora of different activities out there, from the almond orchard and getting students in, like with my integrated pest management course, teaching them scouting techniques, teaching them just how to be a PCA, and preparing them for that career option.
Great.
Had you had an opportunity to visit the Tulare campus before you were hired?
Actually, I have, as an FFA advisor. The faculty and staff out there do a great job of hosting FFA activities, and then I was actually part of one of the original groups to actually farm that piece way back when COS got students out there farming. So I've been, where the campus was now was 100 acres of alfalfa that I cut and swathed and baled back when I was a student here as well.
All right.
So,
Thank you. Good to have
thank you.
Okay, and we have a lot of faculty training going on this week, so most of the new faculty have been involved in some orientations and some teaching. They're involved in orientation and teaching boot camp this week, and Dr. Nolan's been doing that. So we have a lot of stuff going on for all of them this week. I want to introduce two other positions. We have an electrician training full-time faculty member, and that is a unique partnership with Tulare Joint Union High School District with their Career Pathways Trust grant. And they are actually supporting this position through their grant. And the position will be full-time at their new high school that is the former T Cove Center. And so that's where Chuck Perkins will be located. And then we also had a late retirement in automotive technology, and so we were able to backfill that position with a full-time temporary 1-year position where Donald Howell is from. And so I'm going to ask where he will be, and I'm going to ask Dr. Russell to come up and introduce these two faculty members and invite them up as well.
So we have Chuck Perkins. Chuck comes to us from the private sector. He's been IBEW, so International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, member for over 35 years. Has worked as an electrician apprentice, journeyman, foreman, general foreman for AC Electric, Howell Electric, Collins Electric. One of the things trustees I asked him, he's run across paperwork with your name on it. So he has an associate degree in agribusiness from Merced College with additional electrician paperwork or coursework from Cabrillo College. And then, as kind of a side note, since the 80s, he's been a horse trainer, and not only a horse trainer, but also trains people to train horses. So maybe it sounds like a stretch, but we saw that as an advantage when it comes to teaching as well. So teaching is teaching, right? So for fun, he builds Jeeps, and he studies Hebrew. So join me in welcoming Chuck Perkins.
Thank you. I hope to bring some real-world experience into the classroom. That's what my aim is prepare these guys at a pivotal point in their life to actually take a direction, those that choose that way. And I think this hands-on and to get involved and to love it. Thank you.
That's fun. John?
Horses, electrical, Jeeps, and Hebrew. I'm sure you'll come up with something else to surprise me too.
All right. Next.
So for our automotive instructor, we have Donald Howell. Donald comes from Valley Toyota in Hanford. Over 20 years of experience as a master shop technician, smog technician, shop foreman, and he's been an adjunct instructor in automotive at COS for the last 5 or 6 years. His associate degree is in automotive technology from Fresno City College, has done additional coursework at COS and at Porterville, and is a designated subject, or has a designated subject credential from Fresno Pacific University. He's been published multiple times. He's been repeatedly published in Toyota Trails magazine with instructional articles on various aspects of Toyota Land Cruisers, and that's kind of his hobby, his background, his fun, non-working interests. So, join me in welcoming Donald Howell.
Thank you very much. You know, when I was applying for the position, I wrote in my cover letter that this was kind of a culmination of over 22 years of preparation for it, and I struggled with using that word culmination because that kind of means an apex or a pinnacle of something, but I do see it as my high point so far is to be where I am starting this week, next week. But I know there's more peaks to climb in the future, and I'm really looking forward to making our COS Auto program a place that people will want to go, and people in the industry will want to hire students from us to bring them in. Looking forward, already started building a team and want to build more of a team to do that, and looking forward to working with all of you, board and administrators, in making that happen, moving on from here. So, thank you.
Thank you, Don. Welcome. All right, very good. Okay, you're back.
Okay. Okay, so I now get to introduce one of our newest managers, and I think some of you may or may not know that Stephanie Collier, our Dean of Fine Arts and Language Arts and the Learning Resource Center, decided to return to the classroom, and so she's teaching math again, and she also has been running her family business, so this was a good transition for her back into the classroom, and she really missed teaching, and so she's left as the Dean of Arts and Letters and moving on a search. I'm very excited to introduce Marshall Fulbright, our new Dean of language arts, fine arts, and the Learning Resource Center. Marshall has a bachelor's degree in music from Chapman University and a master's degree in music from UC Santa Barbara. He is currently pursuing his PhD in higher education leadership at Azusa Pacific University, and he's going to complete in 2018, right? So we're going to make sure that still happens. He served as an adjunct professor of music at Evergreen Valley College in San Jose, and then for the past 12 years, he's been a full-time professor of music for Long Beach City College. And at Long Beach City College, he has served as a department chair, assistant president of the academic senate, a student learning outcomes officer, and has been on the Student Learning Outcomes Committee. He's been on full-time and adjunct hiring committees, and he served on the executive board for the Music Association of California Community Colleges. And already he has, the very first thing he did, well, not the very first thing, but the second thing he did was attend our two-day meeting this last week in Sacramento on our new Basic Skills Transformation Grant that Mr. Foster talked about. Before that, we even got him before he started to participate with us in a curriculum workshop in LA. And so Dr. Russell and myself and Cindy Delane, we had a chance to spend some time with Marshall, and we learned a lot about him, and we're really excited with the fit he's going to have here. He has a very good sense of humor, which we appreciated, and he also spends a lot of time with his three-year-old son, so he's very busy with a 3-year-old. So we're really excited to have him on board and transitioning from Long Beach to Visalia. So welcome, Marshall Fulbright.
Thank you. The first thing is we met in Anaheim, and that's not LA. So the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim is not LA. It's a whole different county. LA has the Dodgers. So, I'm just setting the record straight, to be clear about it. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to. They're like 30, 40 miles away. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to work with a fabulous academic team and to learn a lot. And I hope I am able to bring a bit of levity. I don't know, levity and support faculty as much as I can to support students in reaching their goals. I think that's our primary function, and I think it will be my primary function to help as many people as I can to succeed in order to help students succeed.
Have you gotten used to the heat yet?
No. That is a rather large transition living in Long Beach. Our last house was on Ocean Boulevard, so it was 4 lanes and then a cliff in the ocean. So this is a little bit drier.
It's a dry heat.
I keep hearing that, it's a dry heat. And I keep saying it still singes me. It still feels hot everywhere. So I did get a place with a pool, so.
There you go.
I know, which was like a third of the rent that you pay down in Los Angeles County.
Right.
But it'll be a bit of a transition with the water and the lack of up here. So but I'm still happy to be here.
All right. Looks like you have a great resume, and we look forward to your work.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm very excited to announce that Kevin Meisner is our new district police chief. Kevin's a familiar face. For the last 5 years, he's been the director of our police academy, headquartered in Hanford. And prior to that, he spent 24 years with the Tulare County Sheriff's Office, retiring at the rank of captain. So we're thrilled to have him, and ask that you would help me welcome him here, our new police chief, Kevin Meisner.
Well, just very quickly, very excited for the new opportunity. It's probably something in any law enforcement officer's career, management, in the length of time in management, to have the opportunity to, in our world, to pin the stars on and be able to have the responsibility at this level. And I'm very excited, and I thank the the board and Mr. Carrizosa and so forth for the opportunity to serve as the police chief. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Questions? All right,
I think we
welcome.
can stump you.
Pardon?
I don't think we can stump you. We don't have any questions. You've been around a long time.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the newest addition to the Facilities Department, or more of a promotion, our new custodial manager, Mr. Joseph Garcia. Mr. Garcia grew up in Hanford, California. He left the area for a few years to explore various employment opportunities in the Bay Area and Los Angeles. In the year 2000, Joseph returned to his roots. He was hired by COS as a student aide for adaptive PE, followed by a few years as a student worker and a substitute for the custodial department. In 2005, Joseph became a full-time custodian for the Visalia campus. His steadfast work ethic earned him a promotion to senior custodian in 2007. And since 2010, Mr. Garcia has served the district under the title of lead custodian. Now, for those of you who are not aware, the custodial manager position was actually vacated by the district in 2010 due to economic hardship. As the lead custodian, Joseph took the reins and provided the leadership and direction that the custodial department needed during those difficult economic times. At this time, I'd like to extend a special thank you to President Carrizosa and the senior management team for supporting the reinstatement of this position. I think I also speak on behalf of Joseph when I say that I really look forward to the positive impact that this position will have on the COS community. It's going to be great. I've had the privilege of working closely with Joseph over the past year and a half, and I couldn't be more pleased to welcome such an outstanding individual to our team. He truly leads with a servant's heart, he leads by example, and most importantly, he displays a sense of compassion and attentiveness that drives his desire to provide our campus community with a safe and clean learning environment. So with that, our new custodial manager, Mr. Joseph Garcia.
Thank you very much. Yes, my goal is to continue on and serving our students and faculty with a clean environment and safe on all three campuses.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, before we move on to reports, I would like to thank those who came today to be introduced, and if you would, as they head out the door, if you so choose to leave, I know you'd be enlightened if you stayed. I think they all left already. But anyway, thank you for coming, and...
She's not here to hear it, but I would say after listening to all those introductions, I would definitely love any time for Dr. Waldner to introduce me. She does a great job.
Oh, yeah.
But I wouldn't want to ride with her on a mountain bike.
Okay, so...
I apologize. I think we're hearing a little bit of feedback up here, and I think it's a little better. They're very sensitive tonight. It's probably a little better if we sit back. I don't know if we can make any adjustments, but...
Okay, very good. All right, we'll move on to reports, the first being Academic Senate report, and I don't see Dr. Trimble here, so I'm assuming
No
we have
report.
somebody reporting on her behalf or not.
No report.
So no report. I don't see a representative from Costa here as well, so we're probably not having that report.
No report.
I know we're going to have a report from CSEA.
CSEA.
Yes, I just quickly wanted to say in person, thank you to the board very much for ratifying our contract. I can tell you Tuesday night, floating down the Rhine River, I thought about it and thought, wow. So I went online and looked up and there was no minutes yet. So I wanted to say, all right, I've always seen a video, and let's see if it's true. And I found the feed online on the Rhine River and fast forwarded to that point in time and went, yes, they did it. And my wife said, what's so exciting? I said, that's the contract. And then I went back to watching the scenery, so. But thank you very much for ratifying our contract.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, COSAFA, Mr. Nichol?
We have no report.
No report today. All right, that will move us on to information items, and I see that Dr. Nolan is here for her annual report, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It's always nice to see you. It does represent the end of summer, but it represents the beginning of the year for me, and I'm glad to be here. This is the start of my 10th year with you. I'm very happy to be here. I want to keep my report kind of short. There are a few very big highlights, one of which is the adoption of Canvas this last year. The Online Education Initiative, which is a statewide initiative representing a lot of money put toward quality distance education, has supported the establishment of a common course management system for all of the California community colleges. And we have adopted this common course or learning management system called Canvas. We got our first classes to start using it in January, and it has been a big hit. It's been wonderful. I'm very, very pleased with it. It's easy to use. It's easier to use than Blackboard. I don't own stock in either one, so it's okay if I say that. The students have a good time with it. We have very, very few problems with it. The instructors are learning how to use it very quickly. So that will continue to be a focus for distance education this year. Blackboard will no longer be available to the faculty after the end of this fall semester, so we're still moving people over. We have increased enrollment slightly this last year for online classes, so I think that represents our increased enrollment in general. And we have a new distance learning addendum that was approved by the curriculum committee. This addendum supports the establishment of features within our online classes that we believe ensure quality for our online classes, so that was a big deal last year. We got that done. The online teaching certification continues to be popular. I was able to offer it this summer, and we have 4 graduates for the summer, and that's pretty wonderful. We have about 80 people who've already completed this program, most of whom have not been able to be scheduled for online classes, but they tell me that the work that they've done in the certification program has enriched their teaching on the ground. So that's something we're very proud of. The Distance Education Committee worked with Dr. Ozturk's office, and we have established a research agenda that we will soon be able to use a tool, an online tool that I'll have access to on a regular basis to gather data on our distance education students. As soon as that tool is available to me, I will provide the board with an addendum to this report with some information on the different demographics of our online enrollments, also our student success data, and so on. And finally, we had a distance education task force that was convened last year to support the development of a distance education plan. We were successful in coming up with our plan, and now we will present that plan to the Distance Education Committee, DECOS, in the fall, in September, to review and then move it through the participatory governance process. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. So Distance Ed is alive and well at COS, and I appreciate your time. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Nolan?
How hard has the transition from Blackboard, maybe I know it's taken a while, how hard has the transition been, or has it not been an issue?
It has been a lot easier than I feared. There is a bit of labor involved in reorganizing one's content, because one can take everything from Blackboard and with a click and a click comes into Canvas, so you don't have to rebuild all of your content, like upload documents and your PowerPoints and that kind of thing. But there's a little architecture. You have to do some redecorating, and that does take a little bit of time, but it's not difficult, and the faculty have really enjoyed using it. We have 24/7 technical support from Canvas, so my job has been to focus more on, well, why do you want to do that, instead of why isn't the machine working well. So the machine does work very, very well, and the students love it, very few problems, faculty love it, I love it.
Good.
That's what counts.
That's what counts.
Deb, do you have a ballpark estimate in your mind? I know we started transitioning last year. Faculty had the opportunity to start on Canvas or continue to use Blackboard. And the goal was, as we started this semester, to have the majority of faculty move to Canvas, but we reserved this semester to bring the last few over, however many would need to be. because obviously we're going to be in better shape for students when we're all on one system. Do you have an idea, Deb, of where we are percentage-wise, maybe how many faculty have, that use this tool are on campus, and what that percentage is you might have to finish moving this last semester?
Well, we did an inventory back at the end of the last fall, and discovered that about half of our faculty, full-time and adjunct, were using Blackboard. The other half were not using anything. So of those instructors, about 40 of them decided to adopt Canvas in January. And the next thing I knew, that was more like 50, 55. They just jumped in. They really enjoyed it. Right now, I have been, all summer I've been working with instructors, and I'm having some Canvas orientations this week and next week. And I've seen probably 25 or 30 instructors who never used Blackboard, and they're going to start using Canvas.
Yeah.
But I will be completing an update of that inventory. It's been my goal to do an inventory of who's using Blackboard and actually contact them myself to be sure they understand about the transition. So I will be continuing that. I would be surprised if all of our faculty end up using something like Canvas. There are many who are more comfortable without using an online tool, but more and more are happy to use it. They're seeing the benefits of it, and it's pretty easy to use, pretty easy to learn how to use. So
Great.
I'll let you know more specifically about those numbers as soon as I have them.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item number 2, annual staffing report, and that would be Mr. Bratch.
So, for the past several years in August, I've been bringing to the board our annual staffing report. This is a snapshot of not only the number of employees we have in all the employee groups, but also the positions and names we have that are filling those positions. This is for information only, and we use it for historical purposes, so we can see where we were with regards to employee counts for the last several years. As you can see, we've been rising or increasing the number of employees we have in all units since our down years of 2012 to 2014, which is a good thing, and that the money situation is getting better for us. We are starting to staff a little bit more effectively in our Visalia and Hanford and Troy campuses. Any questions on our annual staffing report?
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, Ken.
Oddly, it's okay. Oddly enough, when I look at your summary in the back, we're almost at the same number we were in 10 and the year 10 and 11 in total.
Fairly close.
Even though, we took some precipitous drops there for a few years. Any questions or comments for Mr. Bragg?
It's a helpful table, and just when you see all the things that have happened, and to look at our fawn, and this table is a good little snapshot. Thanks, John.
Thank you for that report, John. All right. Next in line is item 3, update on the COS training resource center, and it looks like Mr. Segarra is ready to go.
Good evening, everyone. I have broken down my annual update in 5 brief sections. First section is just a description of the scope of our services. Also, this past fiscal year has been the first year that we have been operating under our new name, the Training Resource Center. As you can see, our office provides fee-based, customized, for the most part, short-term training and consulting services to employers in our region, business and industry. We also offer what we call community education courses that promote lifelong learning. So those are the two main aspects of our office. As far as training services in fiscal year 2015-2016, we serve over 1,300 individuals through our contract education, community education, and grant-related training courses. You'll see those 5 bullets up there. They break down and show the details of the different categories of trainings that we provide. You probably will recognize some of the employers in there, and also some of the public organizations in the county. As far as financials, when I gave my first update in the year 2014, I presented a 4-year forecast, 4-year projection on financials. And primarily the intent was to eliminate the deficit that we had by the 4th year. So the previous year, we projected a deficit that was improved. This second year, we also ended with a reduced deficit. So in general, this has been the second consecutive year that we have ended with improved financial results. I did not want to include, and I did not include additional financial information such as revenue and expenses, because we are transitioning from QuickBooks into a new financial tracking database that we have invested on. So I want to make sure that I reconcile the numbers from the financial tracking tool that we have in EIS, which is the district's financial tool. But in general, I believe in the revenue side, we're within 2%. I see a 2% discrepancy. So the revenue in the previous fiscal year was around $450,000. The intent, once again, is to eliminate that deficit by the 4th year.
The reason for the improvement would be attributable mostly to what?
Couple of things. Decreased expenses and increased revenue. We increased our margin. I felt that the margins that we had were probably below what the average was for the industry. And also, we went through significant cost reduction measures. The office used to have 5 people, and we're at 3 now.
Is this also a factor of the amount of what you charge for the services that you provide to the private sector? Is that obviously that's a revenue generator?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Through analysis, and also consulting with other colleges, I realized that the margin that we had, the profit margin that we had, was lower than other colleges. So we took the measure of increasing the margin percentage to be able to bring in more revenue, and the cost reduction as well. I want to go through some highlights from 2015, 2016. The first one is quite significant. It is a significant milestone for the Training Resource Center and for COS in general, because I believe this is the first time COS has been deemed eligible to contract with Employment Training Panel. Out of all the 113 colleges in California, there's only a handful of colleges that have what's called a multi-employer contract with Employment Training Panel. And it is significant once again because it provides an option to the employers that felt that perhaps could not afford the investment in training in the past, that we think with this new option, they have that ability now. So we received a letter from the Employment Training Panel indicating our eligibility. We're in the process of visiting employers and contacting employers, because we need to submit an application for funding, and that application has to provide details of who the employers are and also the dollar amounts of the contract. So initially, we plan to submit an application for a small amount. We've listened, organizations, also employers are also eligible to apply directly for this type of funding. But often when they do, they don't reapply because they feel that the amount of paperwork is excessive, and a lot of colleges don't do it either for that reason. Also, there are other reasons too. It has to do with cash flow issues as well. Often you only ask for the reimbursement a year and a half into the contract. So there are different factors, but for us, it's a significant achievement, and we hope that would allow us to increase our services to the local employers. Number 2, in coordination with COS Public Information Office, we have coordinated several marketing efforts. There was one last week announcing our eligibility to contract with ETP, and you might have seen it. I saw it in the Business Journal, the Fresno Bee, Chamber of Commerce, and another publication I can't recall right now. So we've been working closely with PIO, the Public Information Office, through our marketing, also branding. That's something else we've been working on, a branding campaign. So I don't think anybody remembers us as BICS anymore, right? So we're not BICS anymore, we're the Training Resource Center. We also are developing courses in the area of food safety. That is in response to the Food Safety Modernization Act. So anybody in the Central Valley that deals with food, which is quite a few organizations, know that what's called FISMA legislation is going to have an impact on their businesses. So in response to that, we are developing courses. We just delivered one class, by the way, in support of the preventive controls for human foods in Tulare. So we just did that last week of July. And also we plan to offer courses on produce safety and other courses in support of the FISMA legislation. And we will continue to participate, and we have continued to participate with the Visalia Economic Development Corporation during the past fiscal year. We've been actively involved in the surveys that they conduct in the industrial park. As far as plans for 2016, 2017, our main goal that year is to concentrate in managing that initial multi-employee contract that we have with the Employment Training Panel. This is uncharted territory for us. We've never done it before. So we've been working hard in learning the details, and there's a lot of detail to follow with the Employment Training Panel contract. So that's one of the items that we're going to concentrate next year. Also, we are going to support the Food Safety and Quality Assurance Grant, which is administered by College of the Sequoias. And it's a brand new grant. It started July 1st, and we are part of that grant. So this is all in support of food safety and quality assurance. We also made a significant investment, significant for us, in acquiring a customized database that would allow us to track financials, online registration, class tracking, so that we can monitor not only the financial health of our department, but also be able to manage classes. So that's something we're going to implement this coming fiscal year. And we plan to continue working with the Visalia Economic Development Corporation, the Chamber of Commerce, the WIB, in the city of Visalia, which have been partners in this previous fiscal year.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Zagara? All right, sounds like you have your hands full and doing a good job.
Thank you, Jorge.
All right, item number 4, our year-end annual, I suspect, governance report, Mr. Calvin.
Thank you, Mr. Nunez. Yes, this is our annual governance report as required by our COS 2.0 model. You'll recall that that model has 3 groups on campus that have the ability to make recommendations to the president superintendent. They are the Student Senate, made up entirely of students, the Academic Senate, made up entirely of faculty, both full-time and part-time, and the District Governance Senate, which is chaired by Mr. Steve Lamar and I, which has representatives from across the district, all 3 campuses, as well as all 4 groups, full-time and part-time faculty, classified staff, and management. And that's kind of a clearinghouse for various proposals and decisions that need to be made, such as BPs and APs and so forth, that come through the District Governance Senate prior to going through the superintendent's office and being placed on the Board of Trustees agenda. So every year, in the spring, as required by those COS 2.0 manuals, we survey and evaluate the job that the District Governance Senate has done for the year. There are 4 subcommittees to the District Governance Senate. the Budget Committee, Technology Committee, the Institutional Program Review Committee, as well as the Institutional Planning and Effectiveness Committee. So every spring, we survey the members of all 5 of those groups. And this spring was no different. In April, Dr. Oster's office helped us out with the surveys. And what we've done here is just consolidate all of those responses. The 4 primary questions that we asked are, did we or did we not meet our roles and responsibilities? And you'll see there that 100% said they either agreed or strongly agreed. We had all but 1 person feel that we had adequate resources available to support these groups. That same person felt like the workload wasn't right, but the other 98% felt like it was appropriate for those groups. And then 100% felt like we were effective in meeting our initiatives for the year. In addition to that survey, we also spend all year, but we really fired up towards the end of the spring semester, is we look back at our COS 2.0 manuals. You'll recall we have the governance and decision-making manual, we have the integrated planning manual, and we have the resource allocation manual. And those 3 manuals really guide our work under the COS 2.0 model. But they do change from year to year. We come across things that need to be updated. You change one thing and it changes 3 others. So over the course of the year, we bump into some of those types of issues. And we note it, and then in the spring, we go back and survey everybody and get proposed changes and edits and so forth. And then a small group of us get together early summer. We go through the various suggestions that we got throughout the year. We put together a draft, we take it to senior management where a final draft is produced, which is the stage we're at right now. I mean, so when school starts back up again, we'll take all three manuals back through this governance process. The folks in the Academic Senate, Student Senate, and the District Governance Senate will get a chance to look at the new manuals. So by the end of August, middle of September, we'll have our brand new 2016-17 COS 2.0 manuals updated and ready for the year, and we'll start the process over again. So that's essentially what we do each year, just to make sure that our model is staying up with the times and staying relevant. So we feel like it's doing exactly what it was designed to do, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Brent, any of the revisions, were those major, minor?
This year, they weren't major. We had numerous edits, primarily because we moved around a couple of dates on when a survey would go out or a report was due, and that would change a few things. So if you were to look at the manuals, you'd see a fair amount of red ink initially, but nothing major, not like the first year. The first year we ran it through a year and found some bugs and changed them. The last couple of years, we've had fewer and fewer major things. Now the things we change are because we want to change them, not because we missed them the first time. Now we're just improving the process, and sometimes, again, if you make one change, you have to change it in all 3 manuals, and it looks a little more extensive than it is. This summer was our easiest yet because we are on top of those changes.
Anybody else?
Great.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, that means that we are moving to the consent calendar, I believe. All items listed on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. An item may be removed from the consent calendar at the request of any member of the Board of Trustees or any person in the audience and considered as a separate agenda items. Are there any consent calendar items that need to be removed? If not, I would accept a motion to approve.
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the consent calendar. Is there any additional discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much for that. Okay, let's move on to action items, starting with number 12. Approval for Costa to change the health insurance providers to CISC, and that would be Mr. Bratch.
Yes, hello again. At our last board meeting on July 11th, this board formally approved CSEA management employees and confidential employees to move to CISC. The reason why we did not have the board approve the transition of Costa to CISC at that time was because Costa members did not vote for the change until July 15th. Well, good news is Costa members overwhelmingly supported the move from CBT to CISC, and this item is before the board tonight for formal approval that the full-time faculty members of Costa be moved over to CISC, starting with the insurance year of October 1st, 2016.
I move we approve.
Second.
All right, it's been moved in second for the approval of the change for health insurance providers to CISC with respect to Costa. Any additional discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, that's taken care of. Item 13, memorandum of understanding with California State University, Fresno.
Okay, good evening. First, I'll mention that we do have reverb, but I think it's gotten a little better. Vanessa and I don't have the expertise to fix it behind this door, so just standing back a bit, I think, helps tonight.
I fixed it.
Oh, is that what
It's-
the magic was?
It's
Okay.
better, and oftentimes it's just a matter of lowering the volume a little bit.
He
had
just turned it
someone
off,
with
that's how he
expertise
fixed
here.
I know it's rare, but sometimes it does things useful.
It was so loud in the beginning, I was sure that Earl could still hear the meeting.
Is that what the point was?
Okay. Anyway, this is exciting news I think we're bringing to you tonight, and this has been in the works for a number of months, primarily with President Carrizosa working with the president of Fresno State University. And the idea presented to you tonight is to lease our renovated Live Oak building to Fresno State University at zero cost for 5 years, with the agreement that Fresno State University is going to make a much larger presence here on our campus and work toward four-year degrees. It will take some time to get there. Initially, they want to extend their bachelor and master's offerings. They do have some 4-credit courses as well as non-credit. They want to expand that. They do want to work starting now towards something called an accelerated degree. And what it does is it complements 2-year general ed degrees such as community colleges provide. And it allows those students to go and receive, say, in 18 months, their degree in business. That might be one of the first ones they would do. What's unique about those is that they have to provide them under a program called Continuing and Global Education. So they're self-support, where the students pay their fees, and it's not funded through state Pell Grants and grants of that nature. But they want to work toward, and they mentioned, I tried to use their wording, that they're going to have to work with the system and accrediting agencies and meet standards to actually establish degree programs down here. So that won't be immediately. But what's exciting about this is the potential that it could provide for members of our community, Hanford, Tulare, the surrounding communities, to possibly get a 4-year degree someday here. This, again, is only for 5 years, and it does have, it does say that this agreement may be modified, amended, or canceled at any time by the mutual written consent of all parties. And I realize that's not a one-party decision if something doesn't exactly go as planned, but we feel really good about the plan so far. And I talked quite a bit, but President Carrizosa probably has more information. Do you have anything you want to share?
Well, I would just remind all of you, I guess, this conversation, I think, among you as a board started at our retreat in January, where we had shared with you the idea that in the improving relationship that we have with Dr. Castro and his interest in visiting College of the Sequoias and spending a little more time here in the South Valley, we had the potential to take the current Fresno State Center facilities that we had here and transform them into something bigger and different. In following up with those meetings with Dr. Castro, there were 2 visits, as you know, this past spring. One early in the spring, shortly after our board retreat, and then one later in June. And the idea that we talked about from the very beginning was expanding Fresno State's presence here and really not even looking to establish a Fresno State center, if you will, on the College of the Sequoias campus, but to establish a Fresno State campus in Visalia so that it becomes part of the College of the Sequoias family, if you will, but is really an effort to create an extension, a satellite of the Fresno State campus here in the South Valley. Dr. Castro was open to that conversation. When we did our first visit, he was pleased to see the center facilities that we have in the portable classrooms. He was more interested in moving to this next level of a Fresno State campus in the South Valley if we would propose to them some renewed vision or renewed opportunities for a facility. That's when we approached all of you with the idea of looking at our Live Oak building as that possibility. We had the mold remediation underway. We knew that the building was going to be rehabilitated back to a building that could be used for offices, administration, classrooms, instruction. We had a number of ideas that we could consider for its use here on our own campus. But at the end of the day, when we all sat around and we looked at our strategic plan and we looked at our long-term future for the district, we felt like our best recommendation to you was to offer this opportunity to partner with Fresno State and see if the opportunity to move into an upgraded, updated, new facility would be the momentum trigger that we would need to get Fresno State to move. We're happy to report that it did. It did exactly that, and it did it with, I think, a significant impact. So there's been team visits here to our campus twice now, and then there's been follow-up visits between their student services division and ours, and their academic services division and ours on both campuses here and there throughout the course of the summer. Fresno State's very excited. I think Christine said it well. This MOU really outlines the framework for how we can build to a future now. Starting with the courses they currently have, taking everything that we have in the back of the campus, moving it into that building as a starting point, but then allowing them to offer the other kinds of extended 4-year degree programs that they currently offer and they have waiting lists for at a location here in the South Valley. They've committed to assign staffing here and are in the process of doing that. This agreement will also require them to bring furniture, hardware, technology. We'll kind of be their landlord in a good faith agreement. They'll take care of setting up all of their infrastructure. And then the latest piece of good news that we just got is they've assigned an administrator to be here. And so they have an administrator now who will be, and they've introduced to their staff in Fresno this administrator and her responsibilities now to build college presence for Fresno State in the South Valley and to do it as part of the Visalia campus at College of the Sequoias. So this is in many ways very much like the former agreement we had, only when it refers to facilities, now it refers to Live Oak. And when it lays out the structure for the future, it talks about not only expanding what we have and incorporating their extended degree program offerings in the next 2 years of this agreement, but over the lifetime of this first 5 years, us feeling a strong level of confidence that we're moving in the direction for them to now have the opportunity for students in the South Valley to finish a 4-year Fresno State degree in Visalia. Dr. Castro has been great to work with so far. I can't complain at all, and he's been a person of his word, And we've seen that over the course of this summer, when he's not only connected his senior staff with ours, and they've opened the doors for meetings and joint conversations, but now the most recent assignment of an administrator to come down and be anchored in this program, along with support staff, gives us great confidence.
Can I ask a question regarding, I had someone ask me about the Fresno State Center, and they had heard that it was going to expand possibly and provide more classes. And they asked specifically about the nursing program. Is that, the bachelor component now, the nursing program, is that at all affecting our enrollment? And is it something we see in the future as us being able to provide that? Because so many nurses are now going back to school to get their bachelor's, right? Or it's going to be required, is that right? Am I speaking out of turn?
It is, it's not legally required, but they're moving in that direction, Lori. And the standard in the industry now is that hospitals are all hiring with bachelor's degrees as their preferred. And so what we're learning by doing our own follow-up on our registered nursing students who complete their nursing certification here and then apply for jobs, they're giving us anecdotal evidence that demonstrates that some of them are not successful because they're in a pool competing with nurses who have completed their bachelor's degree. And Cahuilla Delta and others are hiring with the bachelor's degree first and then going to the next layer in the pool. To your first question, though, it's not necessarily affecting our enrollment. We still have a wait list for our nurses program. I think it's exciting, though, that we have, because that's one of the programs we've begun the conversations with. And I think there's tremendous potential in the future. What Fresno State has talked about initially are areas of where they see, based on their data right now, the demand of South Valley students who go to Fresno State. What degrees are they going to Fresno State for? If they're going to Fresno State for business, or if they're going to Fresno State for elementary education, and they can see students from Tulare and Kings County going there for those would be the first kinds of offerings I think they would make here, because there's a population and a database that supports the demand for that to fill here. But we also know specialty programs like our nursing program are going to be in high demand, and Cindy Delane, as the dean in that program, has already been in a year-long conversation with them about feeding into a bachelor's degree program. We can just now fold that conversation into where is the best place to do that, and consider that as one of the bachelor degrees we could offer here in the future.
Would we consider long-term, like possibly after the 5 years, just maybe entering into at least some discussions in terms of, bigger facilities possibly in Tulare that they could partner with us on? That would, if they start looking, hopefully they would come to us first if they wanted to do something like that. It would seem to make sense.
I think this gives us the foundation, the key, and you know this, Lori, the key really is going to be in establishing our relationship with them. And having the open dialogue, the avenues for open dialogue, earning trust, building some successful pieces of programs here and programs here. There's no reason why that should not be able to multiply from that point. The other thing that we've talked about, and it's been more of a side discussion up until now, but it's at least beginning to attach itself as a sidecar to this Visalia campus project, is the idea that there are some specialty services, and I'll give you one example. It fits with what we're doing. There are some specialty areas of advanced degree development that Fresno State is interested in that they don't have the technical facilities for, one of them being veterinary science. And we do have some technical facilities for veterinary science. So Dr. Waldner has been in at least a conversation with their department in that area, and it gives us the opportunity to have a conversation with the provosts and the VPs that we're talking to about the possibility of another project being either a 4-year degree. What I keep talking to Luann about is, could Fresno State do a 4-year degree program for that kind of veterinary science as a Tulare campus project for Fresno State, because we have the technical facility. And the conversation has begun. Now, of course, I think their first view on the world is, can we move those technical facilities you have to a place on our campus? And our view on the world is, why pull apart hundreds of thousands of dollars of technical facilities? Why not look at offering the program here? So the conversation has started.
That's great. It just seems to me, and maybe this is limited data, but it's just who I talk to, but I do find the trend going back to students commuting more. And, you know, the handful that I've talked to, you know, they just can't wait to get done. They're commuting and driving all the way to Fresno, and, you know, they took classes at Tulare. They work, they support their family, and, you know, gosh, you know, for them, you know, what, if they could finish in those 2 years
Right.
somewhere closer to
Right.
home. They're trying to finish.
Well, and we've got the
They've
partnership.
chosen Fresno State.
We've got the partnership with the city of Visalia now. They're running the bus back and forth to Fresno State. I mean, so Dr. Castro and I have talked about that. If we can link up the transportation and the facilities, we can create better ways for our students to get to Fresno and back, and better ways for students to get from Fresno to here
Yes.
if specialty programs are offered here.
I like that. Good.
So it takes time, but what we're excited about is, I don't know ever, at least in my history, either with Visalia Unified or in conversations where I was a partner with COS, I don't know where we've ever had this kind of open door from Fresno State to be willing to look at these kinds of
Have
ideas.
an administrator here.
It's
Right.
always been, the four-year college's perspective has always been, until you can demonstrate for us that you have 10,000 students who are A to G qualified and four-year college ready, there's no motivation for us to come here. And we're not getting that kind of a response this time. We're getting a different open door.
Great.
The Fresno Pacific has a presence in Visalia, correct?
Full
Where they-
campus here.
Yeah, so this is an option.
Yeah, and the other thing we shared with Fresno State is, you know, College of the Sequoias didn't jump to the front of the line and try to be one of the community colleges to offer a four-year degree program. 17 of them across the state, our community colleges are doing that this year for the first time. And we kind of winked at them and said, and we don't want to be motivated to do that if we don't have to. And it would be nice if we didn't have to, because four-year degree programs were here. Kind of, but we could, you know, we always held that
If
open.
you're not interested.
Yeah, we always held that open, but we might.
Yep.
John?
Dr. Castro is certainly a breath of fresh air. I actually remember a high school superintendent around here sort of inviting Fresno State to go home. But things are much, much different. And I see the success or failure of this cooperation based strictly on people. People like Dr. Castro and his staff, and you and our staff. You know, if both sides want it and both sides work together, you know, this might grow into something. And for that reason, I'm very supportive of doing this. Dr. Castro has a view that just because you're out in the hinterlands doesn't mean you don't need educational opportunities. And some of his predecessors thought you should go to him.
Yeah.
And we should take advantage of that. The way the UC system is, he's allowed to be there for a while. And by the time he gets ready to retire, it's really nice to have a really good rip-roaring program.
Well,
Good luck.
and I re-emphasize the point I was trying to make earlier, John, when I talked about the success of this being on the relationships. But the other thing that both Dr. Castro and I have been very aware of, and all of our team is aware of this, because we've done long-term planning before, is it can't all be just about the people. We want these great relationships to lead us to documents and legal structures and commitments that withstand the test of individuals. So when Dr. Castro retires and President Carasosa retires, people can't undo this because we've put it into place in a way that's solid.
You may know that, Superintendent.
I might.
Yeah, you might. And the difference in him has made the difference in you, and I'm excited.
Very, very good.
So we
Okay.
do need your approval.
I move we approve.
Second.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah.
Coming next, probably in 2 months, there will be an addendum to this. This addresses the facility, the grounds, the custodial, the utilities, things of that nature. But we're gonna address student services, library services, health services in an addendum.
Okay, we'll look forward to that.
And I do want to alert all of you, one last thing, Mr. President, that we will be making, we do have at least one slide during the convocation this Friday that announces these developments to our faculty, and Dr. Castro is taking the same opportunity as he opens his year with Fresno State to make an announcement to his faculty. Because we know once faculty start talking to each other, we want to make sure that everybody's heard the same information from the same folks the same way.
That was going to that leads into the question that I had, and that is publicizing this type of agreement, because that's, I think the community would be very
Yeah,
encouraged about that.
we've got a little timeline set for the initial movement to take place of the existing program to get their stuff over there and reestablished. I think Dr. Castro would like to get his full-time administrator housed here and assigned. And then what we were looking at, Ken, is around early September or so, doing almost a kind of a grand opening and celebrating that a little bit with a press release, and
Right.
that we would do jointly and bring their foundation down and our foundation. So look for more information on that.
Okay, so I believe, I don't know who made the motion second, but I believe we have a motion by Greg, second by Lori Cardoza, for the approval of the memorandum of understanding with Fresno State. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that's very good news. All right, we'll move on to our last item on the agenda, acceptance of donated property, and I think it's somewhat related.
So this is very related, and I just want to mention quickly, Megan, if you'll scroll down to the map, so their current buildings that they use on our property, oh boy, I'm gonna have trouble. There's two very small bubbles above the two buildings. One is CSUF/COS Center. It's FS.
See where they are.
I can,
Yeah,
right here.
yeah, right
Yep,
there.
yep. So that's Fresno State rooms 1 through 6, and to the far left is actually a separate modular with a restroom. And then down where she pointed to the other one, I might have labeled this wrong, is, what do we call it? The CSUF admin building, and that also includes modular classrooms, Fresno State 7 through 8. They want to donate that to us. We are asking you as a board to accept that. It would be as is. But the sidebar there is, you know, for the long term, that really opens up some land for us too, for future planning, master planning, if we ever decide to do something, you know, with a 2 or 3 story building or something in that area, so.
And in the short term, it provides us those modular classrooms, which Byron's already taken some effort this summer to get them, some of them cleaned up and refurbished, repainted, so we can immediately start looking to relieve some of our needs for general ed classes that we have on our campus. And you know, you heard earlier the new $1.5 million basic skills grant that's coming in again. We're going to need places for some of those resource people to be housed. So it's the modular buildings give us immediate use, and as Christine mentioned, they're in an area where easily removed give us some dirt to plan building on if we needed to do that in the future.
All right.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second for the acceptance of the donated property. Any additional discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, well, that leads us to the end of our agenda. I'd just like to mention, quick item, I did notice through my social media jaunts that COS was on Twitter. Did I see that correctly?
What do you mean?
There was some informational items that looked like it was coming from
Yeah,
I don't know where it was.
we have a Twitter out of our athletics, and we have a Twitter out of COS Student Services.
Okay, it was
So
one or the other.
if you follow us on Twitter, and we've been on Twitter for over a year.
Okay, I
Probably
just
two.
happened to
Yeah.
get it as a result of somebody retweeting
Oh, I got
something,
you.
so.
You need to
I'm
follow
glad
us.
see
You need to
that.
follow us on
Well, I
Twitter.
need to do that. I'll do that, and I'm sure all the other board members will.
You follow us on Twitter, and then you go into your settings, and you make sure that if we ever tweet, it lights up, and then you can read
Okay,
it right
good.
away.
I don't have a Twitter account.
All right, so the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.